There's a reason you feel unsettled sometimes, even when life is quiet. A reason you flinch from silence. A reason you keep busy. A reason you distract, perform, chase. A reason you're scared to be alone with yourself. Carl Jung understood something most people still don't. The greatest fear is not that we are weak, but that we are powerful in ways we haven't yet dared to explore. That inside of you is something vast, unknown, terrifying, sacred, your true self. And for most of us, that truth has been buried for a very long time. This is a story about why, from the moment we are born, we begin to adapt. We learn what makes us loved. We learn what makes others withdraw. We adjust, we shift, we mold ourselves into someone we think will survive. Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear to meet the world. It isn't fake, it's functional. It helps you navigate society. It helps you belong. But somewhere along the way, you began to believe you were the mask. You forgot there was something else underneath. Someone real, someone unedited. And when that realness starts to rise up again, it feels like a threat, a shaking, an unraveling, a reminder that you are more than what you've been pretending to be. This is the first fear, the fear of letting go of the performance, the fear of coming home to yourself. Every time you said that's not me, every time you buried an emotion, suppressed a desire, pushed away a part of yourself that didn't fit the image, you fed the shadow. Jung described the shadow as everything within us we deny, reject, or abandon. Our anger, our jealousy, our pain, even our creativity, our sensitivity, our desire for freedom. These parts never disappear. They go underground, and from there they control us. Silently, powerfully. You're not afraid of your shadow because it's evil. You're afraid of it because it holds power you've disowned. It knows your truths. It knows what you really want. It knows what you really feel. And if you faced it, you would change. You would have to confront everything you've built your identity around. And that is terrifying. There's a moment in every inner journey when the denial cracks. You say something you weren't supposed to say. You feel something you weren't supposed to feel. You admit something you thought you'd locked away forever. And suddenly, everything you thought you were feels paper thin. This is the beginning of individuation, the process of becoming whole. But first, it feels like falling apart. Because you've built your life on stories, labels, identities that served you once, but no longer do. And now you're face to face with the truth. I don't know who I am without the mask. That's the fear, that without it you are nothing. But Jung knew the opposite is true. Without the mask, you are everything. You are free. There are two versions of you, one you've built, and one that's been waiting. Jung called them the ego and the self. The ego is who you think you are. It's your name, your job, your beliefs, your preferences, your story. It's your conscious identity, the part of you that says this is me. But the self is something much deeper. It's the totality of who you are. Not just what you show the world, but what you hide. Not just what you know, but what you haven't yet remembered. It includes your light, your shadow, your divine spark, your ancestral wounds, your deep intuition. The self is terrifying because it's vast, uncontrolled, unknown. The ego wants predictability. The self wants wholeness. So of course, you fear who you really are. Because stepping into the self requires you to surrender the illusion of control. And no one wants to surrender until they realize control was never real to begin with. You say you want to grow, to heal, to evolve, to break free. But then, you fall back into old patterns. You ghost the people who see you. You procrastinate. You distract. You numb. And then you wonder what's wrong with me. Jung would tell you, there's nothing wrong. There's just something unresolved. The part of you that self-sabotages is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. Protect you from visibility, from vulnerability, from change. You are at war with your own defense mechanisms, and you won't win that war by fighting harder. You'll win by listening, by asking your pain what it wants, by holding your fear like a child, not a problem to fix. This is real healing, not performance. not perfection, but integration. Your wounds don't disappear. They become wisdom. There is a silence that follows awakening, not because you've done something wrong, but because you've stepped out of the noise. As you become who you really are, you may find yourself drifting from people who only knew your mask. You'll feel the weight of their expectations. You'll feel the ache of letting go. You'll feel the question rise in your chest. Will anyone still love me if I stop performing? Jung said that individuation often leads to solitude, not isolation, but a sacred solitude that allows you to come back to your center. You will grieve, but in that grief, you will also be reborn. The people who remain, and the ones who appear later, will see you, not the version you curated, but the soul you actually are. You may lose the crowd, but you'll gain yourself, and there is no greater reunion. The strange thing about becoming real is that you'd expect people to celebrate it, but often, they don't. Not right away, because when you start to live more honestly, you shine a quiet light on everyone else's dishonesty. Not in a loud or judgmental way, but simply by being, by refusing to perform, by being present, and still, and real. And for those who are still deeply identified with their masks, this can feel threatening. Your peace will trigger their chaos. Your clarity will rattle their illusions. Your authenticity will challenge their comfort. You may be called selfish, cold, too much, too quiet. And in those moments, you'll feel the old fear rise again. Maybe I should shrink. Maybe I should go back. But Jung warned us, to live from the true self is to walk a path few dare to follow. You are not here to keep others comfortable. You are here to wake up. If you want to meet the real you, listen to your dreams, not just the ones that feel pleasant, but especially the ones that disturb you, confuse you, stick with you for days. Jung believed dreams were messages from the unconscious, symbols, signals, maps. They carry fragments of your shadow, whispers from your inner child, and glimpses of your higher self. You may dream of houses, each room representing a different part of you. You may dream of death, symbolizing transformation. You may dream of being chased, not by monsters, but by parts of yourself you've tried to leave behind. When you start to decode your dreams, you begin to decode you. And often, the scariest dream is the one where you're finally awake, because waking up requires the death of who you were pretending to be. The descent into the unconscious asterisk. Before we rise, we fall. Every great myth is a story of descent. The hero must enter the underworld, the cave, the darkness, not to suffer, but to find something lost, something sacred. This descent is not a failure. It's a rite of passage. In your life, it may look like a breakup, a depression, a career loss, a spiritual crisis, something that cracks your surface and sends you inward. Jung called this the night sea journey, a plunge into the unconscious where you meet your fears and discover your soul. You may feel lost, but you are not. You are in it. And when you return changed, not fixed, not perfect, but whole. There comes a moment after the descent when you start to feel something strange, something unfamiliar, but deeply peaceful. It's the quiet of not lying to yourself anymore. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop laughing at jokes that hurt you. You stop editing your soul for comfort, approval, or survival. You feel clear. This is what happens when you stop betraying yourself, but it comes with consequences. You might lose people who only loved your disguise. You might lose roles you never really wanted. You might feel lonely, not because you're broken, but because you're becoming real. Jung knew this price well. He once said the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But privilege and price are often the same, and you will know you are healing when you can endure that price and still choose truth. Once you've touched the self, even briefly, you may feel powerful, awake, liberated. But here's the trap. The ego loves to wear new clothes. It will try to hijack your awakening. It will say, "Look how conscious I am. Look how deep I've become. I'm better than others because I've done the work." And just like that, you're asleep again. But this time, you're dreaming of being awake. To live from the self requires vigilance, humility, quietness, a deep love for truth that overrides your need to be seen. You stop needing to prove. You stop needing to win. You just are, not better, not more spiritual, not more evolved, just whole. Integration is the final step. It's not a moment, it's a lifetime. It's when you allow all parts of yourself to take a seat at the table. Your joy, your pain, your rage, your tenderness, your ambition, your softness, all of it belongs. You stop chasing perfection and start practicing presence. You no longer fear the darkness because you've met it, and it didn't destroy you, it revealed you. Carl Jung didn't promise an easy path, but he promised a meaningful one. And the deeper you go, the more you realize you are not your trauma, you are not your conditioning, you are not the voice that says you must stay small. You are the awareness behind it all, the space, the stillness, the self. And maybe that's what you were afraid of all along. Most people say they want to be seen, but what they really want is to be accepted. Being truly seen means being vulnerable. It means showing the parts of yourself that are unpolished, unfiltered, unresolved, the parts you've kept hidden, even from yourself. When you're seen in this rawness, without performing, without managing others' reactions, you step into a rare kind of intimacy. But that intimacy can feel like exposure, because what if when you're finally honest, someone walks away? That fear is ancient. It's tied to survival, to belonging, to the deep wiring that tells us, if I'm rejected, I won't survive. But here's the shift. Rejection may still hurt, but it no longer defines you. Because once you meet yourself, once you truly know who you are, you stop outsourcing your worth. You begin to love yourself, not because you're flawless, but because you're whole. Carl Jung often wrote about the wounded healer. This figure appears in myth, in story, in psychology. It is the one who heals others through having been wounded themselves. But Jung warned if the healer denies their own wounds, they become a danger to others. True healing begins not with helping others, but with facing your own pain, with gentleness and truth. It's tempting to turn your suffering into something useful, to rush into meaning, to bypass your own grief in the name of growth. But the wounded healer does not rush. They sit in the dark. They tend to their own soul. And only from that place, that rootedness, do they offer medicine to others. So if you're hurting, if you feel broken, don't rush to fix it. Don't turn your pain into a performance. Just breathe. You're not broken. You're becoming. Every fear you carry has an origin, and often, it began when you were small, a time when you needed safety, but didn't get it, when you needed to be held, but were told to be strong, when you learned, quietly and without words, I must become someone else in order to be loved. That part of you, the inner child, never left. They're still in there, waiting, longing, listening. Jung believed we must reconnect with the child within, not to coddle it, but to rescue it, to hold the grief that was never held, to say gently, you didn't deserve that, and you don't have to pretend anymore. This isn't regression, it's reclamation. And often when you start loving the child you were, you begin to heal the adult you've become. If you've made it this far, something in you is already waking up. You've faced some of the shadows. You've seen the parts of yourself you've tried to forget. You've softened the edges around your fear. And maybe, just maybe, you're starting to feel a little more like you. Not the version you learned to become, but the deeper self you were always meant to be. Carl Jung didn't offer easy solutions. He offered truth. And that truth is this: the journey of becoming isn't about fixing yourself. It's about remembering. Remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Before shame, before masks, before fear became your compass. You were whole then. You are whole now. And all the darkness you've walked through, all the descent, the grief, the letting go, was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you. So rest now. Let your breath slow. Let your body soften. You're not lost. You're home. You always were. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Carl Jung. Let this final moment be an invitation to keep looking within, to keep becoming, to keep waking up. You are not alone. You are not too late, and you are far more than you've ever been told. This is your life. Live it as you, fully, freely, fearlessly.